So thank you everyone for coming today. My name is Brandon Grant. I'm the marketing director here at QuoteWorks, and today we're going to be presenting QuoteValet and QuoteValet Insight, which is the reporting engine for QuoteValet. So we'll be going through a full demonstration of QuoteValet and its capabilities, and be happy to answer questions at the end of the webinar as well. If you look in the little GoToWebinar where you logged in, you'll see there's a questions box. You can post any questions in there. If I don't answer your questions immediately, I will kind of circle back at the end of the meeting, make sure I get to those and get everyone taken care of before we end the webinar today. Again, like I said, we are going to be recording this, so if you need to leave early, if someone from your team is coming in late, and you miss a portion of the webinar, we will be posting this probably early next week onto the website. So we're going to go ahead and get started today. Just a brief outline. We're going to do a very, very short PowerPoint presentation, just 2 or 3 slides, just to familiarize some of you who are not familiar with QuoteValet, kind of what it is and what it does. And then we'll actually go through a full demonstration of the features. So what is QuoteValet? In simple terms, QuoteValet is the online delivery vehicle for QuoteWorks. It allows you to send a dynamic electronic version of your quote or proposal to your customer or your client. So instead of sending a static PDF document, you can actually send a document to your client that they can interact with. They can change quantities. They can update the costs of or the pricing. They can select various options. All these things enable them to kind of make choices, give them a little more freedom, and make their document actually kind of dynamic in QuoteWorks and in QuoteValet itself. They're also able to electronically sign and accept the document, as well as post comments on it. All these things are going to be tracked by QuoteValet, so you'll actually receive notifications as your clients interact with the document. So it's probably one of the biggest tools in using this functionality, is that you'll actually be able to receive these notifications and see that the client is actively interacting with your document. QuoteValet Insight is included in the QuoteValet subscription, and this is going to be the reporting engine for QuoteValet. So any document that's been uploaded to QuoteValet will be available in QuoteValet Insight. It lets you compare sales reps. You can track interactions from like your phone or your tablet, so you don't have to be in the office to view this. You can check out approvals and peer reviews, and there's also executive and my summary dashboards to make it really easy to kind of target a specific date or time of the interactions between your sales reps and the clients. So a question that comes up pretty often is going to be, well, who actually uses QuoteValet? Who is this going to be best utilized by? Essentially, it's great for any size company who's looking for an easier way to kind of track customer interactions. A lot of times when we deliver quotes and proposals, unless the client confirms that they received it, we really don't know if they have actually received it. And if they have received our email, we don't even know if they have looked at it. Short of printing it out and physically handing it to them, it's not a way to know that information. So QuoteValet, one of the reasons that we have this product is so that you can actually receive that information. It's valuable to know that your client has actively searched or actively viewed the document, and so you know that they have received your quote, and makes it easier for follow-ups. It also simplifies your client's ability to accept and make payment on their documents. So if you send over a quote or proposal to them, instead of them having to wait for you during business hours, they can actually just electronically sign and accept online. Everything goes through QuoteValet, so you're not having to try to track you down if you're out of the office or on vacation or anything like that. You're also going to have the ability to kind of check on sales reps and customer activities and kind of see how everyone is doing through QuoteValet. So you can see, essentially who's viewed the quote, who hasn't viewed the quote, documents that are expiring. It's a range of reports that you can view in QuoteValet. So it's a really powerful tool and something that provides a lot of functionality and kind of expands QuoteWorks' functionality as well. So like I said, very short PowerPoint presentations. That's just kind of a brief overview of some of the functionalities and kind of what it's going to do. We have a ton of resources on QuoteValet. It has its own page on our website, so definitely encourage you to go there and check it out. We also have videos. There's information about the help file. We've done previous webinars for it, so if you want to see one of those webinars, you're more than welcome to. There's a forum where you can contact other QuoteWorks users. There's always posts about there in QuoteValet. So it's a great place for information. And then obviously you can always call or send us an email. We'll be happy to answer your questions as well. All right, so let's go ahead and move towards actually using QuoteValet. So as you can see here on my screen, I've already kind of started a document. In the process of making my final changes to it before we actually send it out to the client. So I've got my, my items on here. A couple things I wanted to point out is the use of heading lines here. So I have my heading line here in QuoteWorks. I have actually 4 of them. So my products, my services, some warranty options, and optional items. If you're not using heading lines are a great way to kind of organize your document in QuoteWorks. These are supported in QuoteValet, so it makes it really easy for your clients to know kind of under what section they are. Each item is kind of falls under which category. You don't necessarily have to use this functionality, but it is available, so it is something that can be very useful in kind of organizing your document in QuoteWorks. So a couple things I wanted to mention here is we have some warranty options. So one of the common issues that we run into when we send out a static or PDF document that the client may need to choose an option. They may need to select either this option or this option. In this case, we have a 1-year warranty and a 2-year warranty. Well, we don't want the client to select both of them. We want them to select one or the other. So what we can do is assign these to an exclusive group, and the client can choose between the two. With QuoteValet, what we'll do is create a radio button next to those 2 items. And the client can swap between the 1-year warranty or the 2-year warranty, just depending on which one they would like. So the way we're going to set that up in QuoteWorks is by utilizing line attributes. So I'm going to highlight my 1-year warranty and my 2-year warranty, right-click, and then select Edit Line Attributes. And this will bring up my line attributes window. And then we're going to change this first option in the line attributes to is optional, yes, is selected. So that way one of them is already pre-selected for them. And then I'm going to assign it to the exclusive group. So if any of you have used the optional setting in the past and you're wondering what this exclusive group is, you can see here with the tooltip, we're going to assign it to a mutually exclusive group. This will create those radio buttons on QuoteValet. So in this case, I'm just going to call it warranty. And I can type anything in there that I'd like. If I wanted to call it ABC, I can type that in as well. So, but for our purposes, we're just going to call it warranty to simplify it. Now, anytime you select more than one item and you assign it to an exclusive group and you hit OK, QuoteWorks is going to pop up this message and just say, hey, just so you know, you can't select 2 items. They can't both be selected. Only one of them can. That's all this message is saying. So I'm going to go ahead and hit yes. And what that'll do is that will automatically select this first option. So you'll see here down at the bottom of my screen, it'll actually even tell you mutually exclusive. It's in the warranty option, and it's selected. If I click on the one right below it, you'll see it has the same group, but it's not selected. If you want to change the selection, just go to the item that you want selected, right-click, Edit Line Attributes, and change that one to is selected. So in this case, we want the 2-year warranty selected instead, since it's a little more expensive. And you can see it's now selected in my options. So this is a great way to utilize the radio buttons in QuoteValet. Another great way is if you're going to give your customer any type of options where you're kind of forcing their hand. Maybe you have like a good, better, best, or the silver, gold, platinum kind of options. This is how you can utilize that functionality, is basically highlight the items and then assign them to different options. You can do it with groups as well. You just highlight the group header. So if you're using bundles in your documents and you want the client to choose between various groups, you just highlight the group header, and that will create that radio button for the client to choose from. Now, further down the quote at the bottom, you'll see we also have optional items. So we want the client to also be able to select or deselect these options. So if we have 2 options on here, say, okay, these are completely optional. If you want them, great. That's great for us. If you don't want them, that's fine as well. So what I can do is, again, I'm going to highlight both items just to save time. Right-click, go to Edit Line Attributes, and this time I am going to set them as optional and is selected, but I'm not going to assign them to a group. I'm just going to leave them as optional and selected. This will actually create a checkbox next to these items, so they become true optional items where the client can select or deselect them. A lot of the times, kind of best practices for using QuoteValet, we often recommend go ahead and having them pre-selected for your client. That way they don't get a sticker shock, especially if the optional items are more on the expensive side when they deselect them and they look at, or when they select them and they update the pricing. So the first option we showed under warranty was doing an exclusive group. In this case, we're just going to do just the regular options here. Choose is selected, and then the client will have the check boxes next to those two items. So once we get into QuoteValet and actually upload it there, you'll see the differences. So go ahead and hit OK there. And that'll mark those items as selected. And you'll see here it is optional and selected. All right. So now that we've made those changes, we can go ahead and send this document to the client. So when you're using QuoteValet, everything that you did before, the way you typically deliver the document to the client, nothing's going to change. The only difference here is how we're going to deliver the document, and that's instead of sending an email with a PDF, we're going to send an email with a web link. That's it. That's going to be the only difference. So we'll click on Deliver. You would still select your cover page like you typically would if you're using cover pages. If you're selecting your various layouts, you go through, make your selections. If you're including literature or not including literature, you go through. You're going to do everything the exact same way. And then once you've built your document, you have your PDF the way you want it, we're going to get ready to upload it to QuoteValet. Now, it's vitally important that you still continue to select your layouts and build your document like you typically would send the PDF, because we are going to include this PDF document in the QuoteValet document on the website. So very important that you include this here. So we're going to click on Upload to QuoteValet, and it'll prompt us to save it since we made some changes. So we'll go ahead and we'll save it. And then the first thing you'll see here is it's going to create that PDF. So if you haven't previewed your PDF, this is a great time to do it. We can click View PDF File, opens up our PDF document here, so we can take a quick look at it. Just kind of go through it kind of quickly here, just to make sure everything looks in order. Yep, everything looks good. So I'm not going to go through all the pages here. Okay, so everything looks good, so we'll go ahead and we'll move forward. The next option is going to be the reminder options. So in QuoteValet, you actually have the option to have QuoteValet send auto reminders on your behalf. There's two sets of auto reminders. There's ones that are to the recipient or to your client, and then there's ones that are sent to the sales rep. You can see you can actually choose to have one only send to the recipient, only send to the sales rep, or send to both. So this option here, remind recipient if document is not viewed, I can set, okay, if the client hasn't viewed the document in, we'll say a week. So we'll give them until next Wednesday to view the document. QuoteValet will automatically send an email reminder on your behalf, letting your client know, hey, you received this quote a week ago, you haven't viewed it yet, here's the link. Same thing for the sales rep. If you'd rather have the email sent to you instead, or just have it in addition to the client sent to you as well, you can set a reminder for yourself as well. It's a good way to kind of keep on top of things and follow up with them. Remind recipient when document is expiring. This is extremely useful. If you can set up a reminder so that when your document is about to expire, it sends another reminder to the client so they know that the document is about to expire. In this case, again, you can set it the amount of days here as well. And then for any of you who would like to accept credit cards or PayPal through QuoteValet, once the document is accepted but hasn't been paid, maybe you require payment up front before you can actually move forward, you can even have it set up so it can send a reminder to the recipient or to the sales rep that the document has been accepted or not paid. You can set various defaults for these. We'll get into that here in just a minute. But if you wanted to change these on a document-by-document basis, you can. So we try to keep things flexible with everything we do in QuoteWorks, and this is just another example of that. So the auto reminder is a great tool to use, again, if you want to kind of have QuoteValet kind of help you along and send those automatic emails to your clients. All right. So the next option is going to be what your document is going to look like. So we have our PDF document here that we selected, but the other option is going to be what our QuoteValet document is going to look like. So this is all done in HTML. So we have a couple different options set up. The first one is going to be the default document, where it's a customer-facing document. This is just going to have the typical default template that comes with QuoteValet when you start your subscription. The one right below it is the written signature. This is going to be, everything is exactly the same, except it gives a box for the customer to essentially electronically sign the document with more of a signature rather than typing in their signature. Some Some clients we find think that it's just a little more formal since they're actually going through a signature process. So we have this functionality. This is the one I'm going to use for our example. So we'll go ahead and upload it. But either one will work. There's no essentially difference except maybe the client's a little more comfortable doing electronically where there's actually some type of signature on there rather than just typing it in. So once you've selected your QuoteValet template, we're going to go ahead and upload this document to QuoteValet. And depending on how large your document is, depends on how fast it will upload. That one's pretty quick. And so you can see here you have two options. You can copy the URL. This will actually copy the web page URL to your clipboard. So if you want to send it to someone else to review for you, you can do that. You can also see here you can preview it before we send it to QuoteValet. So typically, you're always going to preview it before you send it. I'm actually going to show you the customer side of things first, and then we'll go into the sales rep side of things. So we'll pretend we looked at it. Everything looks great. So let's go ahead and hit send email. So the first thing we'll do when we hit send email, see the email window will pop up. You'll see the attachment is blank. So we're not actually including that PDF attachment. We're just going to send this web link to the client. And if I click on that link, you'll see that's the customer's tracked URL. So I'm just going to copy that to my clipboard since I don't have email set up on here. And we'll pretend I hit send. So I hit send, and I sent this to the client. So our client received the email, and they went ahead and clicked on the quote, and this is what opened up in them. So this is what they see in their web browser. So we're now the client. We're looking at the quote that was sent to us by QuoteWorks. I've now received an email notifying me that the client has viewed the quote for the first time. So already, QuoteValet has told me, hey, customer viewed the quote for the first time. So I know that not only have they received my email, but they've also received, they've actually clicked on the link. It actually made it through, and they have physically looked at the document. Now, anything that the client does on this page is tracked. So for instance, if they say, oh, here's the PDF, let me go ahead and review that. Maybe there's some terms and conditions that have been included here, or they just want to download a copy of the PDF for their records, they can do that. They can review all the information here. So in this case, this one has a support agreement, so they can review that. I'll be able to, I'll know that they have actually gone through that step. If we scroll down a little further, you're going to see the line item information. This is my favorite feature about QuoteValet because it provides a dynamic document for the clients, where the client can actually come in here and make changes. Now, I don't have my document set up this way, but you could set it up if you wanted to give your clients the ability to change quantity. So we can actually have that as an option where they can change quantity. In my case, I'm just going to leave it static, a little easier to demonstrate this way. For our warranty options here, though, you can see we have the 1-year standard and the 2-year standard. So the client can actually change, say, okay, you know what, I really don't need that 2-year warranty. I'll just take the 1 year. And then, these 2 optional items, I'll go ahead and deselect them. And then if I choose update, so we're at just over a little $74,000. If I choose update, that'll actually drop the price. So it'll update in real time my selections and my changing of options in the document. Now, you may say, okay, well, that's great, but what happens on the QuoteWorks side of things? So let's go back into QuoteWorks and let's see what happens. So we go ahead and hit close here, close out of my deliver window. Now, since I have this document open, it's not checking for updates. But if I had just logged into QuoteWorks and opened this document, anytime you've uploaded a document to QuoteValet, and you can see here you'll always be able to tell by the QuoteValet tab being available, it will automatically check for updates. If you want to refresh, if you have the document open and you want to check for updates, just click on the QuoteValet tab, and this message will pop up and let you know if the client has clicked on anything or viewed anything, anything's changed. So in this case, we see that the customer selected the 1-year standard warranty, and then they deselected my 2 optional items, and then I can hit OK. You also see here our total has been updated in the QuoteWorks document. So it's always going to stay in sync with what's going on in QuoteValet every time you're going kind of checking on what's going on in the document. So on the QuoteValet tab, we'll now see all the activity for this document. So we can actually see who created this document. In this case, the sales rep was Brandon. It was then viewed for the first time at 2/18. They then viewed the PDF attachment, and then they changed a couple options. So far I've seen everything that they've done. If I click back on here, you can see here, if we go to our options, that they're still marked as optional, but they're no longer optional selected. So they're actually green in color. Anytime you see a green on the document, it means that it's an optional item and it's not selected. So that means it's not including the total. So again, our document has been synced and is staying up with our document in QuoteValet. So if we go back to the QuoteValet tab here, you'll see there's some options for the sales rep. So you actually have a couple features here. One of them is going to be the view the sales rep facing page. This will actually let you log in and post a comment or reply to a comment that the customer makes. So perhaps your customer will go in here, they scroll down, and they post a comment here. They say, can you please update all items to 4 instead? All right, so they'll submit their question here. And now that sends an email to the sales rep notifying them that the customer has a comment, but also includes a text. So it's a legitimate email that actually provides information. And then in QuoteWorks, next time you open that document, or if you refresh the activity, you'll actually see customer posted a comment. So you can make those changes. So we know the customer said, okay, can you update everything to 4? So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and we'll update our quote very quickly here, and we'll change our quantity to 4. Now the next step is I need to re-upload these changes to QuoteValet. And to do that, I'm just going to click on the Deliver window again. And then you'll see you have the option, once it's been uploaded once, to re-upload it to QuoteValet. There's also what we call the Express Mode button. The Express Mode button will let us update, we'll save, update, and preview our document all at once. So if you haven't, if you don't need to change anything, you're keeping everything the same, we can do that. So we can go ahead and choose upload to QuoteValet in our example, and that will actually save everything. And then show us the updated document. And then you can see we're just in the preview mode, the customer-facing mode, and we can see all the changes there that have been applied. Okay, so everything's been uploaded. So perhaps we go back into QuoteWorks, we uploaded it, and then we'll post a reply comment saying, okay, and then there's our change. So let's go ahead and view the sales rep facing page here. All right, and then you can see here I'm in the sales rep facing mode, internal, and then if I scroll down to the bottom, I can actually reply. And then I'll hit submit. And then that'll post my comment directly above theirs with the timestamp. It'll also automatically send an email to the customer. So if for some reason they don't receive my email, if they come into QuoteValet, they can actually see that I had replied with that information. So as a customer, if we reopen the quote on the customer side of things, we'll see the changes, and we'll see my comment. So my comment's there, my post is there. So everything looks good there. All those changes have been applied. Now, if for some reason you have sent a document to the client and perhaps something has changed, maybe an item is no longer available, maybe your tax rate has changed, you forgot to include shipping, whatever it is, we offer the option to recall the document. Recalling the document will allow you to temporarily pull it down from QuoteValet so that the client cannot accept it. So if I choose recall a quote and just say, so I'll recall the document, and then if we have our tax rate set as 8, and let's go ahead and we'll update it 6.5, save it. So at any time while I'm making these changes, if the client goes to that quote, what they'll see is this. So it'll say tax rate has changed, please be patient. So we don't kill the link. The link is still working. We've just updated kind of what the client is seeing. In this case, they're seeing that the tax rate has changed. Please be patient while we update. And here's their sales rep's contact information. So if they have questions, they don't have to go hunting for it. It's right there on the main page. This is also useful if maybe you mispriced something, you forgot to include in, like a required service or an option or something. It gives you a lot of flexibility to make that change, and then all you need to do, just like when you change the quantity on the document, you simply need to re-upload it once you've adjusted it. So we'll click on Deliver. Everything's good to go now, so we're just going to re-upload it to QuoteValet. We'll use our Express Mode option again, and then that'll upload it to QuoteValet, and then you'll see it's available. So that's, again, this is our preview. So if we close out of the preview and we actually go to the customer page, we'll see here what the customer sees. So again, it provides a lot of flexibility in being able to see or make changes kind of on the fly, especially with PDFs. Once you send out the PDF, it's not really a way to take it back, so you have to be pretty careful about it. One of the other great things about QuoteValet is when the document is out there, if the document has expired, in this case our document has not expired, so it's still valid for another month, but if it had expired, we can leave the document up, so when the client visits it, you'll actually receive an email from QuoteValet letting you know that the client has viewed an expired quote. So it gives you a chance to kind of re-engage the client, and maybe they're interested in getting restarted with this. So anytime you have an expired document uploaded through QuoteValet, once it hits that expiration date, they won't be able to accept it. They'll just be able to view it, but you can even pull it down if you want to and just leave your contact info up instead. So have some flexibility there with how we handle expired documents. Okay, so the document's been uploaded, it's been changed. We can see all the changes here. We're tracking all that information through everything that's happened so far. You'll see there's an option that says re-email customer notification. If for some reason they don't receive the quote, you can simply resend it here, and we'll send it out to them. And then the last option would be to delete it from QuoteValet. If you uploaded a document to QuoteValet and you want to just completely remove it, we can certainly do that. All right, so we have our document. Client's looking at it. They're ready to move forward. So let's get to the acceptance part. So they're going to scroll down here, and they can actually see here we can agree to the terms and conditions. They have a PO number that they want to use for reference. They can do that as well. So if they want to just put in PO number, they can do that. If they have any comments, in this case, we'll say they really want this ordered as quickly as possible. And then they can put in their signature, their name, and then they can sign their name here. And we'll just do a quick signature so they can sign off on the document. And then last step is just click to accept. And then if the acceptance page has been set up where you are accepting credit cards or PayPal, then it'll just bring you to an order confirmation. So you'll be brought to the payment or the acceptance screen here, and then if you accept credit cards or PayPal, you can then have them click on the Pay Now button to make payment. If you don't accept credit cards or PayPal, maybe perhaps they're on terms or they're going to pay you with a check after you invoice them. That's fine. This Pay Now button just won't appear. This would be the last step, but you'll still receive that email notification that they have accepted the quote. So you'll actually see that notification that they move forward with that document. And then if we click on Pay Now, this will actually bring them to the payment screen where they can make payment on the document. In our case, we've set it up where they need to make a 20% deposit. So they need to pay of the entire document 20% essentially to move forward. So I actually set that up on my document items screen back in QuoteWorks in the bottom left corner and said they need to put 20 down in order for us to move forward. So they've got this set up here, and then that will populate what the deposit is going to be when they get to the payment screen here. Again, if you don't accept payment, that's fine. You'll still receive the order notification that the clients move forward with the order, and kind of start your normal process from there. So once the document has been accepted by the client, a couple things are going to happen. The next time you refresh this document, QuoteValet is going to see that the document has been accepted, and it's going to want to convert this quote to an order. And converting the quote to an order is how we close a quote in QuoteWorks. This is how we actually choose, this is how we actually move from a quote to an order. So window will pop up and it'll prompt you to convert it to an order if you want. You don't have to, but it is extremely useful because if you are using like a CRM or a PSA system, then you can actually have it update your opportunity as well that it's been closed or won. So in my case, since I wasn't using a CRM or PSA system, then mine's not going to have anything to update, but at least you'll have that option. So this is one of the nice features about QuoteValet is how it keeps kind of everything synced, that once that happens, you'll actually be able to see all that information and kind of go through and go forward with everything. Additionally, when the document has been accepted, even though you may not have made payment yet, it will provide you with the information to kind of receive payments, so you'll at least get those notifications. So a couple things I wanted to mention before we continue. As far as the QuoteValet Insight, so we talked about that. So basically what you've seen is everything that's happened on the QuoteWorks side of things. However, the things that happen in QuoteValet Insight, or used to be called QuoteValet Web, the things that happen in QuoteValet Insight are the reporting functionality, the reporting features. So let's go ahead and open up our browser here, and we're going to go to .com/web, and we're just going to log in. And you log in using your QuoteWorks credentials. So just like if you were logging into QuoteWorks, same idea. And we'll log in. And what this is going to provide you with is the reporting information. So if you're not in the office and you need to view that information, you can actually go to the QuoteValet page and check changes there. So first thing I'm going to do is if you look under the dashboard option here, you can see we have a few different options. So the first one will be the inbox. This is the same inbox that's in your QuoteWorks dashboard in the system. But this, again, is available online, and we can see here, here's our document from today, so Wednesday, March 22nd, and you can actually see all the activity history. So we can see that the customer viewed the payment request, they accepted the quote, viewed the quote for the first time. All that information is available here. That's also true with all the other activity history from all my other documents. I can see which quotes have been accepted, which ones have just been viewed, if they viewed a payment, if they viewed the PDF, all that information. That's actually what these little icons are for here. You can actually see this means it's been accepted, it's been viewed, they viewed the PDF, they posted a comment, they changed an option. So all that information is going to be stored in the activity history, so you can always see that. So even though we send you the email notifications, we also have this dashboard, these dashboard notifications for you that are extremely useful in keeping you up to date, kind of going on with what's going on with your documents in QuoteValet. If you are the sales manager, you can actually look through other users' dashboard, so you can kind of see what's going on. If you are just a sales rep, then you can just see yours or anyone else you have access to view their documents. So if you collaborate and share documents with other users, you'd be able to see what's going on with those documents as well. From here, from the dashboard, you can also see any documents that have been submitted for peer review, so you can view those. So if someone has submitted a document for peer review via QuoteValet, you can check it here as well. Same thing with the approvals. If you are an approval, or approver rather, you can actually see any documents that are waiting approval here, and you can view those documents to approve those when they are ready. The executive summary here. The executive summary is a great place to go because it's going to provide you a lot of information on the document, such as certain dates. So let's just do this year. So this is going to show me for all my sales reps how many quotes have been sent this year, how many have been accepted, how many have been paid, and then I can even filter by the top dollar quotes, top dollar orders, which documents have had customer views, how many customer comments, sales rep comments, and even in comparative analysis. So the comparative analysis, if I click on that, this will actually let me see between my two reps, in this case, or if you had more reps, how the reps are doing. So I can quickly see, okay, in this case, and let me just make this a little bigger for you. So you can see that it's going to be a little easier that way. We'll just maximize that. So you can see between these two reps, which ones have how many quotes have been created, how many were converted to orders, how many their orders are worth, all that information. So it's going to include that. You can even sort by different options. You can sort by the number of quotes in this case. number of orders as well. So all that information can be available there. So the executive summary is typically something you're only going to allow the specific sales managers to view. It's not something that we would typically have the reps see. In their case, what they'll have access to is going to be under the dashboard, the My Summary. So the My Summary is very similar to the executive summary, but you'll notice one big change is that it doesn't have a sales reps option, just has a just their option where they can change their date. So in this case, if we change it to this month, we can see how they've done this month, or they can see how they've done this month. So it's extremely useful here, where they can see that information, and they have it available to just kind of see how they're doing, how their documents are doing, some easy reporting functionality for them. Additionally, under the dashboard, we have some other options. There's a status board. We actually have one of these in our sales side, where we can see kind of all the priority notifications, so how all the documents as they're coming in, as they're being accepted, as they're being viewed, we'll see the notifications here. So extremely useful if you have a sales team that kind of works together, where they kind of keep track of everyone's quotes, kind of stay on top of those. You'll always be able to see that information, kind of how things are looking. So this is meant to be set up in like a monitor, so that everyone can view that. And then the last one would be the Document Explorer, and this is just so you can search for a specific type of document, or if you're looking for quotes or orders or a specific date, or by specific reps. It just makes it a little easier to kind of narrow and navigate to that specific document in QuoteWorks. QuoteValet Insight is part of the QuoteValet subscription, so there is no charge for using or having QuoteValet Insight. It's just going to be available to use kind of as needed. Okay, so if we go back into QuoteWorks, I forgot to update my quote. So this is what I was talking about when the quote was converted to an order. It'll prompt you to say, okay, go ahead and convert this quote to an order. And then at that point, it would prompt you to update your CRM or PSA. So when we talked about QuoteValet Insight, we talked about the dashboard. This is where it's pulling that information from. So your QuoteValet dashboard in QuoteWorks is also going to show you by default your inbox. So you can see kind of the living, breathing documents. But one change from that you'll see is that you have the option to dismiss the notification. So essentially, the dashboard notifications are designed that once you've kind of interacted with the client or done your follow-up or just kind of noted that they made a change to the document, you can dismiss that activity from your notifications panel. You don't actually need to do anything else because you followed up with them. So it's kind of like your living, breathing documents. The ones that are actively being engaged are the ones that are going to appear here in your inbox. So as something happens, you can follow up with it, and then you dismiss it, kind of like a to-do list almost of them. You'll see when you do highlight one of the activities, you'll see all the, or one of the notifications, you'll see all the activities associated with it on the right-hand side. The reporting tab of the QuoteValet dashboard will provide you with some quick kind of easy reports you can run just to kind of check on the status of your documents. The most common one and the kind of most useful one is going to be documents that haven't been viewed yet. So you can actually go in here and set the dates and see a list of the documents that haven't been viewed yet in QuoteWorks or QuoteValet. So you can actually see, okay, you know what, I need to follow up with this company because they received their document but they never actually viewed it. So I need to follow up with them. So maybe every week or every month you kind of go in there and just follow up with any documents that haven't been viewed yet in the system. And then any payments that come through when you click on the Payments tab, those will populate here and you can pull them in. All right. So I see we have quite a few questions, so I'm going to go through those and make sure we answer everyone's questions today. If you do have additional questions about QuoteValet or you'd like a free trial, just contact the sales team. Be happy to answer any questions, set you up with a free trial so you can kind of see how it works. And then if you want to stick around, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording now, but I'm going to go through the questions and answer those. So thank you, everybody, for your time today. For those of you who have questions, just stick around for a few minutes, and I'll go ahead and answer them.